Peace and love, everyone, and I truly mean that, not just saying it because it sounds good. The question is, what caused me to come up with this book cover idea? Why the multiple races of young men? Before I get into that, I want to give a shout out to Cade, my nephew Cameron, my stepson Darion, and Brian. But why the multiple races of young men? It was definitely intentional. And if I could have other races on there, I would, but due to time and scheduling, that was more difficult. Now, before I dive in this book is not about race. I'm just speaking on why the multiple races. And before I get into the why, I want to share my thoughts with you on the why. As a baby, toddler, child, my first memories of life was seeing a black man and a white woman who happened to be my father and my mother. And as being a child, a toddler, we are still seeing through the lens of purity and innocence. The ways of the world have yet to play its part in our heart. We only know what we've been taught. With that being said, when I would go visit some of my white side of the family, I can vividly remember how much fun I had and how awesome they were. And I saw the goodness in them and the beauty in them and how cool and funny they were. And then when I went to go visit my black side of the family, I can vividly remember of how awesome they were and how the beauty in them and the goodness in them and how cool and funny they were. And I get a little older, get into pre-K and kindergarten, I'm seeing all these children. Yeah, I see different colors and shades, but I'm still colorblind. I'm just seeing little humans. And we get a little older. I grew up in a house of love, but when it comes to the world of the realm of struggle, I've had a lot of experience in that. There were times we lived in shelter homes, and there were two different occasions where two different Mexican American families opened their home and let me, my brother, my sister, my mom come live with them. And once again, I saw the beauty in them, how awesome they were, the goodness, how cool and funny they were. And I noticed everybody each race just went to work and came home and took care of their family. And of course, there was imperfections everywhere, but there was something in my heart that was wired to see the beauty in each in people. And so I get a little older and I'm starting, the ways of the world are in front of me. And that's when I found out that there was such thing as slavery and racism and hate and jealousy and all this. And it blew my mind that these things happened because I just couldn't see. I couldn't see it. I couldn't understand. And then life kept on. Life continued on. And that's when I was always a believer, but there was some unhuman-like miraculous things that happened that took me from a believer to just simply knowing is God is real. And that's when I start tapping into the word and spirit and understanding spiritual warfare, the unseen battle between good and evil. And in my opinion, that's when it started to make more sense. There is a spirit that is here to lie, steal, cheat, and destroy. And I call it the spirit of divide. And I believe that spirit of divide wanted division, segregation, to divide and not to unite. Because if we were to unite, a lot of evil plans would fail. And the world could change if we ever to unite and be on one accord and look past our differences and be able to agree to disagree. Because I found this interesting. I have a very interesting upbringing. I have experience and know what it's like in living in multiple black households, a white household, Hispanic households. And so I have experience and I saw firsthand So I always found it interesting that people who had very little experience and grew up with other people that didn't, who grew up with people who only looked like them, had all these perceptions on all these other races with very little experience. Like, what are they going off of? What you see on TV, music, the news, and what's being pushed out by what I feel was the spirit of the divide, that spirit that's here to lie, steal, cheat, and destroy. And I found so many people being conditioned to the ways of this world. And another thing that let me know is, now when I speak on my family, I never experienced any racism from my black side or my white side, but I'm speaking now in general of whites and blacks. When I was asked certain questions by whites, it let me know that they lacked a great amount of understanding from the other side. And then growing up on the other side, I would hear comments and remarks and ask some questions that let me know that a good deal of my blacks also lacked understanding on other races. And I always believe that if you were to take a person who only grew up with their own kind and to put them into these other communities of the races, it's only a matter of time before they see that, man, listen, I've been lied to, almost somewhat deceived, because these are my brothers and we're all part of this human family. Same thing for if I was to take one of my brothers on the black side and put them, let's say, the country or somewhere, and they would find out that, wait a minute, everybody don't think this way, everybody don't believe this and are racist, and that's everywhere. But I also witnessed this: how much out of 365 days out the year are one individual witnessing racism? Let's just say 2 days. And so if you have 1 million people in every city or town or what have you, and out of 1 million people there's only one person experiencing racism, or 2 people out of 365 days, those 2 days, that one person out of 1 million, that's being glorified and pushed out on social media, pushed out into the world, and pushed out to the news. And that's a part of that spirit of divide. But what about the 363 days where it was all good and copacetic, and everybody was coinciding with each other and going to work, and then just going to work and coming home? What about the million of people subtracted by 2 that didn't witness any of that? That lets me know something was going on, and it was that spirit of divide. Because I truly believe that if we were to unite, this world could be a better place, a safer place for our children, and more hearts would be filled with love versus hate, jealousy, lack of understanding, fear. Because that's what I saw it as. At the core is fear, because people fear what they don't understand, because they had a lack of understanding of being around these other people. Or maybe they did. Maybe they're going off their own experience. Look, we don't got to go out and have picnics and hold hands and all that, but if we can ever get on one accord and subconsciously and in our heart unite, that's what that spirit of enemy does not want. But think of all the glorious things that could happen. You ever been around somebody who just is colorblind and they just get it? Despite whatever issue, they just get it. They come with a different feel, a different spirit. And what I'm saying, people may not be on, and that's fine. People maybe just want to be segregated, just want to deal with their kind. But no matter how you want to slice and dice it, we're all in this thing together. That's like, racism was always a very low vibrational, fall for the bait, easily deceived thing that you just see on the surface, and you really don't know the true issue of what's causing it. That's like a bunch of dogs, like the Chihuahuas have an issue with pits, and the pits got an issue with the golden retrievers, and the Rottweilers hate the Man, look, they're just all a part of the dog family. And that was a part of why I chose to have young men of different races, because these are the men of the future generation. And I just subconsciously, I just wanted just to have that visual that that's what it is. We're all on this path together. May not together, but we're on this path of just trying to survive and make it and do the best that we can. And that's why I chose this. I have all these different people that I grew up around. They're all a part of me. And that's why I feel like that's a part of how my heart is wired. So that's why I chose this book cover. And if you would like to purchase this book, remember, this book is not about race. We're tackling the heart, mind, and soul of our future generation. You can purchase it at www.authorjamiereynolds.com. Jamie, Jaimy, last name Reynolds, Reynolds. Check out my YouTube channel. I'm coming out and pumping these videos out. The little bit that I do know, I'm trying to pour it into my people of all races. Not just my beautiful black people, not just my beautiful white, my beautiful Hispanics, humanity. Peace and love.